You hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/inkdependence keeps this channel ad-free. Hello, folks. Welcome to Inkdependence. I'm Mike, and it's the end of September, and that means it's time to go over my 30 days, 30 inks that I was doing this last month. In the last video, I talked about the first 15 of these, so we're going to set these aside. But now we're going to talk about 15 inks and the 15 pens that they were in that I was using this month. So let's get started with number 16. This is Vinta Enigma, and I was using this in this bronze and indigo TWSBI Eco. It's actually really nice in here. You can see there's a lot of shimmer in this ink, and it's a very nice light blue with actually quite a lot of shimmer in there when you get the light on it just right. As you can see there, tons of shimmer going on. Next up, Jacques Herbin Orange Soleil, which I had in this very interesting pen, which I didn't even actually know existed. This is a Pilot Custom 742, and it lives in the space between the Pilot Custom 74 and the 743, which is a really interesting sort of space. And this is a really great pen. Has this nice bright orange ink in there and uses the number 10 nib instead of the 5 or the 15 as the other two do. Next up, September 18th, this is Ackerman Dutch Masters van Huysum Sapgrun. I hit the R there pretty hard for my friend Annabelle, who was trying to teach me how to say that correctly. So there you go. There's that really nice light green. It's kind of a grassy green, and it's been hanging out in this pen here, which is an Iron Feather Creative pen that I actually got Audrey for her birthday, and she's not using it at the moment, so I'm using it. It has a really nice nib to it. I like the fit and finish on this pen. I like the feel of it. It has a little cone down here. It's got the coin up here. Really nice pen here. Next up, September 19th, Pannonia's Baraje. This is an ink that I made with Pannonia. This is Pannonia and Inkdependence Baraje. I should probably order more of that because I really like using it. I still got it in one of my own pens, and this pen that I borrowed from a friend, which has this giant nib on it. Not the biggest nib you can possibly get in a Mont Blanc, but it is up there. This is the signature nib, and when he gave it to me, it was already inked up with Baraje. So, I've got some of that around for when this runs out, and it is getting a little bit low. You can see through the ink window there. You can see some light through there. So running it out a little bit there, but just trying this ink out, or this pen out rather. And it's been really nice with this Baraje. September 20th, I went with Waringul's Dracula. You'll notice at the bottom of each of these pages is going to be a Dracula. Did I do that here? Yeah. So September 10th, Vampire Pigeon. September 20th, Dracula from Waringul. And this is another red ink, another bright red ink actually. You can see these two next to each other. One's a little bit more tomato-y, perhaps. And then Waringul's version is a very crimson color with a whole bunch of blue shimmer, which I really dig. I think this is a cool ink. I like that a lot. And I've got it in this pen here, which I also like a lot. This is a St. Dupont. It's one of the Olympio series. And you can see a little bit of ink there on the nib that is kind of dried there. But yeah, really nice. This is from when I last filled it. Let's see how we're doing on this one. I keep running through this. Yeah, I'm good. I'm still good for a bit. I am running out of this sample, though, so thank you very much to the kind friend who give me a sample of that ink, Waringul Dracula. It's been great fun. September 21st, we had Sailor Studio 280, and this is a really fun ink that I had on my shelf for a while and just kind of didn't get around to using until I was looking for an ink to put in this pen. This is an Esterbrook Model J with this beautiful ebonite here, and this kind of swampy ink I think goes really well with some of the colors you find in this pen here. So it's been performing quite well there. It looks like it's a little bit dry here, but that hasn't really been my experience. It just kind of happens on this paper sometimes. It really soaks up ink. Next up, Herbin Shogun. This is one of the shimmery inks from Herbin there. You can see that shimmer in the ink itself. That actually is kind of a bronzy shimmer, I think, and not really a silver, although it is coming off very silver here in this picture. This ink has been hanging out in this pen right here, which is a Ryan Krusak pen. This one, I can't remember what this one's made of. I wish I could find the card that I wrote that down on. I just haven't looked for it well. But then I have a franklin-christoph double broad sig in here that my wife made for me a while back, and it's really singing in that nib. I like it a lot, and this pen is just kind of a joy to use. This one is lacquered. This is not the wood finish. I had him coat that in a lacquer for me so that I could not worry about getting it too stained as I was using it. All right, next up, this is Diamine Green Edition, which was the ink vent for this last year. This is Olive Swirl, and this is one of those chameleon inks. You can only see one of the shimmer colors there, but it is a very bright shimmer in that kind of darkish green ink, and really brightens that up. It has actually been in this pen ever since, I don't know, since Inkvent, actually, because I just keep refilling it. I really like it in this yellow TWSBI with a ground nib on here. It's kind of a sig on this broad nib that Audrey did for me. You actually see some of the shimmer there in the feed and around the nib. I really like this shimmer. I really like this ink. It's been doing a great job in here. Next up, this is Pinonia's Torukokik, which is Turkish blue, and I think I've had this ink in this pen for like 2 years. It's just such a good match, and it doesn't dry out because, yeah, it's another TWSBI Eco. I've got several of these inked up right now, probably like 7 of them or something, and they just don't dry out. And so even if I don't use this pen all that often, the ink level doesn't drop, the ink color doesn't change. It has been really good, and I really like this bright blue coming out of this nice black pen. It's just a really nice experience for me, so I like that one a lot. All right, number 25, this is Papier Plume's The Count. So bottom row, all Draculas. This one is the Count Saint Germain, and this is an ink that is brand new and is available now on the website. I noticed while I was doing this, and you'll see there are 2 different colors here, that the original pen I put it in apparently had some black pigmented ink in it, and so it was slowly turning black over time, which is kind of weird. It was actually a really nice color, and it worked out well, but you couldn't really see the reddish winish color. I guess I should say like maroon kind of wine color that you get from this ink. And so I put it in a different pen that I knew was straight up clean and would give me a wider spread for that ink, and that is this Lamy Nex. The Nex is a really comfortable pen to use. I like the way this holds, and I think it looks very nice with this this cap and the metal clip and all that jazz. So Lamy Nex, you don't see these very often, but they are a very nice pen. All right, for the 26th, Waterman Serenity Blue. This is an old classic, and I actually pulled this one because I bought this Mont Blanc this last month, and I wasn't sure what to fill it with because I want to get something that's easy to clean out because piston fillers can be a bit of a pain, and I wanted something that I was going to enjoy. And somebody just said, well, you need to fill it with Waterman Serenity Blue the first time. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. So I went ahead and did that. And it is fine in here. Serenity Blue is not going to be one of my favorite inks. It's an okay blue color. It's pretty middle of the road blue. A little bit on the washed out side for me, honestly. It's just kind of, it's not really my jam. It's a good, reliable ink, but it's not exciting to me. All right, next up, this one is exciting to me, and I've had this in 2 pens for quite a while. This is September 27th. This is Linen Toolbar Dong Ding Oolong Tea, and this is an ink that is, I believe, exclusive to Yoseka up in New York, but I'm not actually 100% sure that it's exclusive. You just don't find Linen Toolbar in that many places. For me, it's pretty well just Yoseka and Kinokuniya is the only other place I've seen it, but I've got it in 2 pens right now. One of them is a Diplomat Arrow that is quite fine, and I used it for this lettering. And then the other one is this pen right here. This is a Pilot Custom 845, and this is a great pen. It has a big old double broad nib on there. I really like using this pen, and this nib really gives this ink room to run, and I think it looks very interesting. There's just nothing boring about that one at all, even though it is kind of a weird greenish, like sort of like damp tea leaf color, I guess, but it I think looks great in those 2 pens. All right, next up, this is Wearingeul and Endless Pens, Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. And I just inked this up just the other day, and it's very shimmer. Look at all the shimmer in there. These Ventas do not hold back on the shimmer. I think there might be more shimmer than ink in this ink. It is a nice kind of, moody teal is what I've heard it referred to as by a friend of mine. And I think that's not wrong, but that shine it gives is actually really nice. And the pen that I've got it in, man, look at this. This is a pen that I bought from somebody on the Pen Addict Slack channel, and it is made of a material called Operex, or at least the cap, the section, and these little bands are. And Operex is a synthetic opal that I believe is made, or I'm not really exactly sure. It says this is a synthetic opal, but I thought I had bits of actual opal. In any case, I don't know how they make this, but I mean, look at the chatoyance in this thing. It just like changes as you move it. And then check out the section. Like, this is just absolutely amazing. And this was made by pen turner named E.T. Turnings. You can find them on Instagram and on Etsy. And well, such nice work here. This was apparently a custom pour, the body part here, and it's a really beautiful sort of like shimmery color there. But then, I mean, it's just totally overawed by this Operex, which is fantastic. So if you get your chance to get your hands on an Operex pen, I mean, do it, because I don't know of a material that is just more beautiful than that. It's wildly good looking. All right, next up is a pen that I've had for quite a long time, and an ink that I've actually had in the pen for quite a while. This is September 29th's Super 5 Deli Orange. Now, this is a set of cartridges that I got, and they're actually a pigmented ink. This orange is really nice. A lot of times pigmented inks you'll find in like darker colors and things like that, but Super 5 has got them in a bunch of brighter colors as well, including this nice bright orange. It has performed really, really well in this Franklin-Christoph Model 20. This was probably my first Model 20. You know what? It's probably my second Model 20, actually. But I've had this for years and years, and it's just a great pen with a really nice nib. I want to say this is a broad sig that was done by my friend Jim Rouse back in the olden days. You can see a little bit of the orange there around the nib and that sort of thing, but it has not formed any like weird crystals or, you know, nib funk like that you sometimes get with orange inks. And I think that's because it's pigmented and not dyed. And I think the dye component is what makes the crystals and that sort of thing, but also good airtight cap and all that jazz. But this is my, I think, third, maybe fourth cartridge that I've put in this pen, and I just keep using this orange because it's such a good complement to the dark orange there. And sometimes you just want an orange ink and an orange pen. Not very often for me. I don't like to match much, but a few times I will. All right, and last up is one of my favorite inks, and this is September 30th, Pannonia Draculea. We had to keep going with the Dracula theme here for these bottom ones, and this one's just a banger. If you're looking for a spooky Dracula ink, I think this is the best one. Draculea is a, I don't know, brick sort of red, I guess, but it's also got a black nanopigment in there, and this nanopigment works better than any of the nanopigments I've seen Pannonia use. I think it mixes into the ink better than my Cheerio Waterbus's blue does. It mixes in better than the red that you get in Strigoi, which they did last year. I really hope they have a Halloween ink this year, and it's got a lot to compete with Draculea, because I love this ink. I have had it in the same pen for a very long time because it just keeps getting refilled. This sort of like party of a pen right here hosts that Dracula ink in there with the weird dried blood black flakes in there. It's a fantastic ink. I love this Schoen Design pen. It's the Schoen Design full-size fountain pen. Definitely go check them out. It's just been a great ink in this pen, and if you can get your hands on some Draculea, I say do it. I stocked up and bought an extra bottle just because I know I'm just going to keep using it because it's just that good. So that's my that's my 15 inks, 15 pens for the second half here. If you want to see what I used in the first half of the month, go and check out that other video on my channel for the whole month. Put those two together. I don't know, watch that one and then watch this one. It's too late. Go back in time and rewatch, that one first. But this has been fun. It was this is a really busy month, and it was actually a little bit difficult for me to keep up with this, even just like coming up with one color a day. I always forget how taxing it can be to do a little project like this, even though it's fun. It's like, oh, shoot, I almost forgot to do that thing, and you go and run and do that thing. But it has been really fun, like saying, oh, yeah, this is what this ink looks like on this paper and that sort of jazz. And yeah, it's been really fun. So these Wearingeul ink sheets are pretty good. I think they do eat some of the sheen on some inks. So like Pannonia's Baraje here should be more of a green sheen on that one. Likewise, Dakota Thunder here is lacking a lot of its sheen. I think this paper just kind of is too absorbent and it tends to eat that sheen. And that's too bad, but it does perform really well. And you just put a whole bunch of ink on these things, like it doesn't buckle or anything at all. And I think the color is true, even though the sheen can be difficult to find. So, it's not perfect, but I think it's really pretty nice, and it's really good and convenient for little projects like this. So, there you go. All right, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks to all these makers for making awesome pens and inks, and I'll see you in another video soon. Until then, peace out.